You got to pay taxes on your flour, on your oil. Understand? That's slavery. That's slavery. That's pure slavery. We're seeing yet in our captivity this very last day, man. Baruch chapter 3. We're still yet in our captivity this day. We're still yet in our captivity this day. So let no man deceive you. Don't let them fool you in the Christian church. Let no politician make you believe that, well, if you vote for them, no. Same system, nothing new under the sun. Whether it be left, right, whether it be Democrat, Republican, center, middle, or whatever, guess what? Same things. Same captivity going on. This is what the Most High said. We'll be out of captivity when Amashiach return and deliver us. When we're being brought into the wilderness. But until that, we're in captivity, regardless where you live. They see force you. The government see force you to abide by their weakness, by the agenda, all the things that do. Yes, understand that. It's plain and simple. Stay in the spirit, trying to keep the commandment, obey the Most High, obey the voice of the Most High. Then you gain understanding. That's the only way you gain understanding. Now, if the Most High does not show you, that means the Most High doesn't want you to see, to understand. Maybe you may understand time. The Most High doesn't want you. Sometimes brother don't understand it. Brother think, well, maybe the brother is doing something properly. Maybe that's why this happened. No, it doesn't mean that. The Most High is not going to reveal everything to everybody. Some brother, the Most High show them because he know they can. Some brother may not be able to see because the Most High know they cannot handle it. Right? It's not because Johnny, A, B, C, they were able to do it. It doesn't mean you'll be able to do it because you're doing the same thing. No. It doesn't mean that. So let's keep that in mind. Right? So let's go to Genesis chapter 15 and I'll read verse 14 and we're going to move ahead. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I join. So the Most High say, that's what we tell the brother. A lot of our people we see this day, they say, well, you got to buy guns. No, you don't need no gun. The gun you need is the Bible. This is the gun you need. Right? This is the gun Esau is scared of. Right? All this nation, the Ishmaelite, right? AKA the Arab, the Chinese, the so-called white men, right? The so-called Jordanian, the so-called Russian. They're scared of this. They're scared of the Moses. They're scared of the Bible. They're scared of this. This is the weapon that we need. This is the weapon that we need. So-called black Satimene. This is the weapon that you need. This is the weapon. This is the sword that you need. This is the mighty. Our warfare is not physical. Don't fight anybody. You ain't got to fight anybody. The Most High see everything. Is the Most High blind? Is the Most High an idol like they have in the Christian church, Islam, and all this religion? No. The Most High is not slumbering. The Most High is not sleeping. The Most High see everything that happened. You got to keep in mind, we will go through trial and tribulation. Things will happen to you. It is not because you keeping the commandment, you fasting, you do everything. It doesn't mean that you won't go through trial and tribulation. No, it doesn't mean that. Get it out of your mind. It's not because you're praying, you're keeping the commandment that you won't go. You will go through it. By force, you have to. If you don't go through it, that means you ain't doing righteous yet. That means you ain't doing properly yet. But guess what? You will go through trial and tribulation. Everyone got a time. You got to understand. You got to keep that in mind. It's not because you're fasting, you're praying, you're bringing out precept every day, you're teaching. No, it doesn't mean that. You're going to go through it. And yours could be worse than other brother. The Most High give to everybody based on what you can handle it. Right? Keep in mind. Right? You may have a lot of body around you where they're helping you. You don't feel anything. But when the Most High bring it upon you, that day the Most High move the spirit. And some of those brothers, they'll run away. Keep in mind. Keep in mind. It will happen. Things like that, it happen all the time. It happened in the time of our forefather. Remember Peter. Peter, he denied the Lord. He denied the Lord 3 times. Even though the Lord told him that. The Lord literally told him, you would think that, well, Peter will be able to go through it because the Most High already warned him through Yahweh Shemashah. The Lord told him. Guess what? As soon as Peter saw the sword, your papa with the sword, all this machete, all gold, all the, guess what? Peter, he said, I don't know him. Peter 3 times he denied our Lord. So keep in mind, don't be sitting on the couch thinking that, well, you know a lot of precept. Yeah, we study a lot, we know, whoop to, da. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay? You got to pray that the Most High spare you. That's all. You got to pray that when those things comes, when your trials and tribulation comes in, you'll be able to go through it. You'll be able to carry your wood, right? Or some brothers say carry your cross. You'll be able to carry your wood or your tree, right? No cross. I don't believe in the cross, right? I don't believe in cross, right? Amashagi was hanging on the tree. Cursed is he that hanger, right? Because he that hang on the tree. Galatians chapter 3, right? We go in the book of what? Exodus. We go to Leviticus, Deuteronomy. We can read about it, all right? Our forefathers were hanged, not crucified. They were not crucified, right? That's the doctrine of Nimrod, right? The Egyptian, the Babylonian, the Greeks, the Mid-Persian, the Edomite, that's for them. It's not for us, all right? We don't believe in the cross, all right? We believe in our forefather being hanged. When you take a look at the history of our forefather here in Babylon the Great, in America, our forefathers were hanged by the Edomite. They were hanged. They were not crucified. They were hanged, all right? So Amashia was hanged, all right? Because he that hang on a tree. So keep in mind. So that's the thing. We got to keep that in mind, in our mind, right? We got to keep that in our mind, right? He said, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. The reason why we have not come out from America yet is because we have not reached the 400 years, or more than 400 years, the Most High said. Because when the time was reached from the land of Canaan unto Egypt, guess what? The Most High delivered who? Our forefather by the hand of who? Moses. And our forefather came out with what? Great substance. They came out with cattle, birds. They came out with gold, fancy garment. They came out with great substance. Keep in mind. That's what the Most High is saying. Now, it has not happened. The prophecy has not been fulfilled yet because there's nothing new under the sun. This happened in the past time, happened in Egypt, it's happening right now in Babylon the Great, aka the United States of America. And when we reach the 400 year, guess what? The Most High start pulling the children out. That's why you see already brother moving out already slowly. Brother already moving out slowly. Brother and sister, they're already relocating already slowly. The Most High doing it already slowly because we're getting closer to the 400 year. We're getting closer to the 400 year. We're very close to the 400 year. That's why you see brother, they're moving out. Brother moving out from Babylon. They're moving out. Brother moving to different place, different part of Africa. Some moving different part of, I'll say, the Caribbean. Some different area. Keep in mind. All right? All right? All right? So you got to keep in mind. Let's go right now in the book. As I say, this is what I want to bring out today. All right? And we're going to go and we're going to show it. This book is called The Legend of the Jew. This is our history. These are some of the books we're supposed to be reading. Right? To get understanding, to learn more things, to stay in the spirit. You can get it on Amazon. We got it from Amazon, right? You know, The Legend of the Jew, right? Complete, the complete one, right? He said the Legend of the Jew, of the so-called blacks, so-called African Americans, so-called Nigerians, so-called Beninese, right? He said, well, complete. Louis Ginzberg, that's whoever translated from Hebrew, right? Or whether it be Greeks into English, all right? So let's go to it. We're going to deal with what? The birth of Abraham, all right? Let's dive into it. The birth of Abraham, right? We're going to learn something about it, all right? We're going to learn something about it, all right? Right? This is The Legend of the Jew. I am on the page 60, page 60, page 60, right? And the title or the topic is what? The birth of Abraham. We want to learn, like I say, when you go here in the book of Genesis, right? Right? Let's go right here. After the flood. Let's go after the flood, right? After the flood, let's go right here. Let's go in the book of Genesis, chapter. We'll pass the table of the nation. Keep in mind, you can't learn too much about the birth of Abraham. You cannot, right? Let's read it. Keep in mind, I'm right here, right? In the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verses 1. And the whole earth was of one language, Hebrew, back in those days. Hebrew, back in those days. And of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a place in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Right? So let's jump right here. Let's jump to verses 10. Right? Let's read it. Right? This is the book of Genesis chapter 11 and verses 10. These are the generation of Shem. Because Abraham descended and came from who? Shem. Shem was the righteous seed from the three sons of Noah. From the three sons of Noah, Shem was the righteous. And Shem, he was a priest. He was a Levite, I would say. If I was speaking in spirit, Shem was a Levite, I'll say, because he was a priest, or he was ordained priest after the order of who? Melchizedek is possible. Is all the will of the Most High. Alright? Is all the will of the Most High. Alright? Keep in mind. So he said, Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. So Shem, he begat Arphaxad, right? 500 years. And he begat so many sons and daughters. Sons and daughters. Alright? Alright? And Arphaxad lived 5 and 30 years. So Arphaxad, when he was 35 years old, he begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years. So again, another 403 years. So 403 years plus 35, you can see he's getting closer to 500 years living, right? He begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. Many sons and daughters. Keep in mind, many sons and daughters. And Salah lived after he begat Eber, right? He lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And begat sons and daughters. Keep in mind. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg. So like you bear with me. Okay. So like you bear with me. Alright. So like you. Alright, so like you. I'm trying to see if you'll let me do it again. Because you know, this is my first time using it, alright? It's my first time using this app. Alright, so I think it's only give me like 30 minutes, something like that, or maybe less than an hour. So as you know, so I was in the book of Salakia, right? I was in the book of Genesis, right? 11. So we're right here. So we're gonna continue. He said, and Peleg lived, verses 10, right? And Peleg, verse 19, and Peleg lived after he begat Ru 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Ru lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Ru lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 920 years and begat Terah. So keep in mind, Terah is the father of who? Of our forefather Abraham. Now Terah, he was not righteous. Terah was an idolater because back in the time they were all worshiping idol under the king Nimrod, right? Like you see today, right? So he say, and Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So Terah, he has 3 sons. They don't mention the daughter, right? We know through the spirit he got daughter. However, most in the Bible, the men are mostly the one that I mentioned, right? Keep in mind, mostly the men. They got daughter, but they don't mention it. The Most High, that's how the Most High wanted to go down. It is what it is. So he got 3 sons. He got Abraham, Nahor, and Haran, right? And Haran begot Lot. Keep in mind, that's why Abraham is what? Abraham is the uncle of Lot. So Lot is what? The nephew of who? Abraham, right? So keep in mind. So that's all you can read. You don't read anything. He just taught you. It's an overview of the birth of Abraham. He was begot by who? Abraham was begot by who? Terah. That's it. That's it. You can't get no more detail than that. Now, when you go in the book of Jubilees, all right, you go in the book of Joshua, all right, and we don't recommend any brother. If you are not in the spirit, if you don't study, if you are not strong in the spirit, we don't recommend you. Do not read that book yet. Don't go over there. You focus on the Torah. Learn the law, the commandment. Learn the basic stuff before you jump on those books, all right? This is my own